Oh, you're naked. Where's your collar, Snooky Pookie Wookie? What's up guys, and welcome back to the Nurse Nook. Today we're going to be having a little chit chat on being a nurse practitioner, whether it's worth it to go back to school, and my opinions on the career. Before I jump into the video, I just want to mention that I am currently on a nationwide tour with Fatima Francesca, another FNP on YouTube. We just had our first stop in New York City, which was amazing. We sold out an entire venue, had an awesome time. We had guest speakers come. It was literally a dream. Our events are not only about nursing, we also talk about entrepreneurship, being motivated, and basically just how to be your best self. And we also have men there too. There was a lot of men that came, surprisingly. So shout out to the men that watch me. This is not just an all woman thing. We love women over here. But shout out to the men that support and come, and even the men said great things about it and they learned something and they were so motivated by it. So definitely come out to our next one. Our next one is gonna be in LA. After that's gonna be in Miami, and then I think Chicago and Dallas are coming up shortly. So definitely don't forget to get your tickets. The link is gonna be down below and I can't wait to see you guys there. This video is sponsored by Brooklinen, and I promise you guys, I'm not just saying this because this video is sponsored, because you know I only talk about things that I believe in. But y'all, Brooklinen is a company that creates literally the most amazing sheets and towels I've ever felt in my life. So this is the pillowcase I have. I have the Set and Oatmeal. Y'all, literally the softest thing I've ever felt in my life. I just wish you could like feel this through the camera. Life changing. This thing is so soft. If I didn't have all this makeup on my face, I would literally just like rub my face all over this. It comes in these super cute sets. So this is an additional set that I have. This is a duvet cover set. Amazing. I think sheets are one thing that is like super important to invest in, especially as a nurse, because your sleep is your self-care, is your everything as a nurse. As a nurse, my bed is my sanctuary, and that is a place where I rest and recharge, and I need it to feel like a cloud and like my holy place. So I always think it's a great idea to invest in your sheets, and these are definitely the best sheets I've ever had in my entire life. Brooklinen was also named the #1 bedding category online company by Good Housekeeping, so that should tell you something. And I'm actually moving shortly, so I'm redoing my entire bathroom with all their towels, because once I discovered this company, I'm like obsessed, and I'm like telling everybody, like, please invest in yourself and your self-care and get these sheets. So I'm gonna wait until Black Friday to reorder my entire new bathroom set, because they're having a 20% off Black Friday deal, which is like the best deal I've ever had. So definitely take advantage of it. Do not miss out. Their information is gonna be down below in the description box. So being a nurse practitioner, I get asked this question a lot on what are my thoughts about going back to school, about being a nurse practitioner, and just how I feel about everything. And my thoughts are as follows. I think that being a nurse practitioner is an amazing career. I think it's an amazing option for somebody that is not quite set on being an MD, but still likes the whole idea of nursing and the mission of nursing and kind of being at the bedside still. I think it's a great marriage between MD and nurse. I personally like it because you don't completely have 100% of the entire responsibility. You kind of share that with a doctor still, and there's always a doctor that you're working with to give advice, to ask questions about prescribing certain things, and just another brain to fall back on. Another question I get frequently is, how long should you wait before going back to NP school? I think that is totally up to the person, honestly. A lot of people knock nurses that go straight from school to being a nurse straight back into NP school. And ideally, I think that it would be best to work for at least 2 years before going back to NP school, just because you really want to give yourself a solid foundation and you really want to figure out how to be a nurse before becoming a nurse practitioner. I'm not saying that it's a totally bad idea just to go straight into it, but I feel like if you want to set yourself up the best way possible and give yourself the best foundation to grow, I think it's a great idea to get at least 2 years of experience before jumping back into school. Because when you were in nursing school, you were learning so much information. Most of it was not sticking and you weren't really applying it to real life. You're really just learning for the test. So I didn't really start learning until I became an actual nurse and was applying information to actual patient cases that I had. So when I graduated is when the learning really started, and I feel like giving myself that foundation was super important. Now if I ever want to go back, I feel like learning would be a lot easier because I already know what it's like to be a nurse. I already know what these illnesses look like. I've dealt with this, I've treated this, and it's given me a solid base to add on to be a provider. So many people now are knocking nurse practitioners, basically saying that they're fake doctors, they misdiagnose, they don't know what they're doing, they didn't have formal training. And I just think that's a bunch of BS, because technically when you go, especially teaching hospitals, a lot of people that are writing these orders are residents, and they are basically like the same thing as nurse practitioners. They've had basically the same training as a nurse practitioner. More so, nurse practitioners have a lot more experience because most of them have already been working in the field for years. So why is it that people feel comfortable with residents writing orders versus a nurse practitioner? In all honesty, I would feel a lot more comfortable with an experienced nurse practitioner taking care of me than a resident, to be honest. Not knocking any residents out there. I'm just saying, I just got a rep for the nurse squad. And I think nurse practitioner is such an amazing option because you can literally go anywhere and do anything. You can be in the ICU, you can be in the ER, you can work in a clinic, you can work in dermatology, you can work 9 to 5 if you want, you could work 1 day a week if you want. You can literally do so much with a nurse practitioner degree, and you have endless opportunities to build your salary. So with nursing, depending on what you do, there's kind of like a cap as an RN on the most that you can make, but as an NP, you can really do so much and really make some real money. Biscuit, if you don't stop with all that noise. Good boy. So handsome, so handsome, so handsome, so handsome. There's literally so much. Your opportunities are endless as a nurse practitioner. Now, if being a provider is not the thing for you and you could care less about writing orders for people and being in charge of a patient's care, totally get it. It's not for everybody. And I think sometimes the misconception is that's the only other thing besides being an RN. It's like, okay, I'm an RN. The next step is nurse practitioner. And that's not the case. There are so many different things that you can do that's not the bedside. You can still have amazing opportunities to make money. You can go into nurse management. You can be a nurse educator. You can be a clinical nurse specialist. You can be a correctional nurse. You can be literally, there's so many different options. I actually found this really great article that I'm gonna link down below. It's 100 things you can do with your BSN degree. The opportunities are literally endless. You can go anywhere, you can do just about anything and still make great money. Another question I get asked a lot is, am I gonna go back to school and become a nurse practitioner? And my answer to that is, I don't really know, to be honest. I thought for starting school when I was in college, I was very black and white, and I didn't have more of an open mind, and I thought my only way up was to follow a traditional path, which is college, nursing school, nurse practitioner, because I didn't know there were other options. And so that was always my plan. I wanted to be a nurse practitioner, and that was it. And now that I'm in the field, I see a lot more options. And also outside of nursing, there's a lot that I can see myself doing with the community that I've built and the base that I built on social media and doing YouTube and all this stuff. The opportunities are endless. And so nurse practitioner is still like a seed in my head, but now I'm like, I don't have to limit myself just to that, because now I know there's so many other things that I could do also and be successful at and be happy with. So to be continued on that answer. I'm definitely not saying it's not a possibility. It definitely is for me. I think I still want to get a little bit more experience as a nurse and see other avenues that I could possibly take. But at the end of the day, it is something that I kind of still want to do, just because no matter what happens to me, no matter if my business ventures fail, if I lose social media, if I lose like my YouTube, whatever it is, I will always have my NP degree if I go that route. So that's always something that's in the back of my mind, is like, educating myself and furthering my education, my career is never a bad idea. It's always an investment. No matter what I do with it, I'm investing in myself. And so it's definitely always an option for me and something that I would be very proud of myself if I completed. But that's the end of my little chit chat. Let me know your opinions down below about nurse practitioner. Do you think it's worth it? Would y'all go back to school? If you have any questions, leave them down below. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on my tour.